Well, we're going to have a conversation from the perspective of a consultant and find out what it is that we can expect in terms of the rollout of the budget as was read yesterday. I've been joined by Godfrey Okansi, and we're going to have a conversation with him as to what to expect 2020. The budget has been read, but what is going to be the reality on the ground for the year that's ahead of us? Good morning, Godfrey.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Good?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I've been around collecting some of the tax information right down from the streets. I mean, how people are feeling about paying taxes.
Okay.
Are they aware?
What are you hearing? What are people saying? What's the pulse?
When it comes to the issue of tax communication, I think there's a lot of work that should be done. People are not aware of how they compute their tax issues. And then when you look at the area of collection, I mean, how close are the collection points to the persons where they are doing their businesses? You know, they are the taxpayers. You should get closer to them.
Yes.
The banks and the susu companies are moving to them. And I think the tax collectors should also move closer to the people.
Okay.
And the processes of collection should be made much easier. You know, and rightly said by the minister, digitization of the system is very important, because clearly it's been proven that the internally generated funds of most of the government agencies that collect monies have increased by the use of that digitized systems. And so it's very important to use systems that would make collections very, very, very smooth and smart. And the last area is the application of the tax resources. That's one area that can easily affect all the two. You know, so if I know about the taxes and I'm paying taxes and I see the monies that have been collected are applied in areas where it will not stimulate the generation of jobs and the profits of what I expect, like roads, like hospitals, like schools. If I do not see all this, if I'm going around my community and I see dilapidated roads and I also see dilapidated school structures, I would not be encouraged to pay taxes. That's not justification not to pay taxes, but I'm saying these are the things that would be causing people to think of avoiding taxes or actually evading taxes. Right.
Looking at the 2020 budget, it looks as if this time around no new taxes have been added.
Right.
Were you surprised?
I was not. I think the minister actually promised that they were not going to introduce new taxes. But, you know, rightly said, you know, I heard him clearly. I mean, when you look at page 1, item 6 of the budget, that the previous government resorted to some draconian fiscal measures, notably the increase in the tax burden on many items and activities, including condoms, cutlasses, as well as kaya. But this government also introduced the road toll and they withdrew it, right? And then also the luxury tax and withdrew it. So you see, there's always an attempt to actually introduce new taxes. But I think the average Ghanaian is awake now and thinking, you know, you don't need to be adding taxes. You have to actually do another thing that can bring and reap in more funds instead of just, you know, bringing on more taxes. So rightly said, they removed some of these nuisance taxes as well. Credits to this government, they did that. And also the ones that they introduced that people were not happy about, they clearly actually reduced them as well. I think that's also a cap in their feather, but a feather in their cap instead. But I'm thinking that as we move forward, increasing taxes is also a problem. So you might not have introduced a new tax, but so as long as you have actually increased a tax, especially one that is actually not being good to us, is actually the one that goes to hurt our process of digitization, which is actually a communication tax. You know, that 50% increment would actually affect the process of digitizing our systems, you know, of taxes. I mean, I think we should look at it and really look at it very well.
Okay, so let's look at this situation. The minister referred to a revenue fall, you know, and the fact that we didn't make up as much revenue as we could have. And this was as a result of the import duties being reduced. You know, we couldn't make up as much in terms of our revenue. I'm not sure if I'm satisfied with that justification. Let me introduce to you our other guest, Dr. Alex Ampaabeng. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, you?
Yeah, you're looking very nice and traditional.
He's made in Ghana today.
Promotion of African wear.
Yes, how?
Ghana made.
It's good.
Ghana beyond 8.
Ghana beyond 8.
That's a quick one, a very good one.
Yeah. So what do you make of that justification of the revenue shortfall that we had?
I think that was a perfect statement. The revenue shortfall was mainly the result of the slash in the benchmark valuation, and also which is the 50%, and also the 30% on the cars.
Okay.
The idea behind that import duty reduction was that it will bring in the numbers, and the numbers will make up for the shortfalls. We have a very competitive neighbors, Togo being the one, Ivory Coast. So what the government was trying to do was that by cutting the import duties, and by the way, we have one of the expensive import duties in the world.
I know that.
So by cutting the import duties, countries which are landlocked, like the likes of Mali and Niger, will start importing through Ghana, which we all believe in it. Again, as to what research informed that, I'm not sure. We cut the duties, and now it seems the numbers are not making up on time. I believe it might change, because if I'm an importer, I have all my links in Togo or Ivory Coast. Ghana cutting their duty, I'm not going to stop overnight. It will take some time for some of these importers to start saying, okay, now I want to engage Ghana. So in the long term, hopefully something will happen. And remember, this cut was not long ago, after a second quarter.
Yeah.
So if anything at all, let's look for the next 12 months from the date of implementation till now.
Yeah.
And see if it's worth the cut, or if you should just keep it for the sake of business.
Yeah.
Other thing he also did mention is that the exemptions, that the shortfall in revenue is a result of the exemptions into the free zones or other areas, which we've been talking about over and over and over.
Yeah.
We have the tax exemptions bill sitting in Parliament, God knows how long. And to me, if I'll be honest, I don't see this bill going through the process and getting it assented to, because it seems that there's a timeline after which a particular bill we need to just forget about it.
Okay.
And it seems the incentive bill, the political will to push it is not there.
Well, I mean, the RTI was in Parliament for 20 years almost. So,
you don't wait 20 years.
We'll wait.
You lose 4.6 billion in exemptions.
Yeah.
This is a very serious conversation.
No, it is.
So we're losing 4.6 billion a year, and yet you're not ready, and we want to go and borrow. How do that add up?
Yeah.
To me, the exemption bill should be one of the bills we need to even rush it through.
Let's backtrack a little bit and talk about the issue of the reductions at the port. Is it that we reduced, but we didn't reduce enough? Because if you are reducing to be competitive, then you have to reduce it to a point where those who are importing from landlocked countries can actually see Ghana as a truly viable option. But if you're reducing for the sake of reducing to make it look like, let's see if we can drop it a little bit. But Togo, Togo has a free port, for example, right, where you can have cars come in duty free, right? Now, think about it. And back in the day when the doctors could import cars duty free, they would import through Togo. You see, they will not import through Ghana port. They will import through Togo and then drive it through Ghana port because they were doctors. They could come in and not pay any duties. But of course, they scrapped that. So now, it's one of the issues that has come up, and the GMA is also agitating and saying that, look, include this thing and give us duty-free cars again, right? But moving forward,
the question.
So my question is, did we do enough? Being serious about it, did we do enough in terms of the reduction?
I think the reduction was reasonable. I think that was that was definitely substantial reduction.
Was it competitive?
Very competitive, I would say.
Really?
And to me, obviously the cars didn't get the 50% as the benchmark valuation did. But that was a 30% on cars. To me, that was good. The issue with the doctors, I'm not so sure whether it's ethically right for a doctor to get duty-free cars and teachers not to get, or other important government.
Well, I mean, that's
that's
a government issue, and they should decide.
In terms
whether
of
they want that,
competitiveness, I think we are. The only thing, as I was saying, is that an importer has set of structures, set of business partners, and if I have an established business partner in Togo, Ghana bringing in this measure wouldn't mean I have to all of a sudden rush to Ghana.
Yeah.
I might take time to identify all the systems and the structures. I might take time to identify who is going to be my new partner in Ghana. I might take time to understand the system better. So some of this, I believe we are competitive now, but it's not something that is going to be overnight.
Okay.
And in terms of the competitiveness again, I asked the question, what research informed the percentage reduction? I think that to me should have been the number one basis. Because most of the time you just throw in the taxes without thinking through properly. Look at this luxury vehicle tax. You go to a point you couldn't know how many cars were going to be affected. When DVLA should have all the data at hand. So most of things just come without sometimes taking proper look at how many taxpayers are we going to bring into the tax net by this reduction or by this introduction.
Yeah.
And I think if it is, then I think for public we didn't get access to that document. But I think let's give it time. I would say maybe 12 months to see if the impact is there, or we need to go back to the drawing board and do something different.
Okay, now we have okay, so you wanted to see something?
Yeah,
okay,
I think to add to it, you've put in place the policy.
Yeah.
Did you communicate it to the people who are doing that business? Have you reached all the people that should know that you have actually put in place this measure, targeting them? You're talking about importers from other countries like Burkina Faso, like Cote d'Ivoire, maybe Mali, and they use our ports, Niger, and everything. Have you communicated to them?
Yeah.
Have you met their groups to tell them about what you've done to stimulate that thing? Have you also provided warehousing for the goods that they were going to bring? Because it's only about just bringing the goods, and the goods are moving the same day.
Yeah.
Some of them will prefer even to put them in the warehouses here and then maybe transport them as and when.
Yeah.
So it's not only about just bringing the prices down and then reducing the taxes, but also the ripple supports, the effects, So also transportation. Do you have a transportation muscle? If they are going to be transporting
by rail, are they going by road? Yeah.
In our part of the world, when there is an increase in the flows, people are going to be increasing their transport costs.
Yeah.
Instead of maybe reducing to
Because
encourage. So have
volume,
you involved all the players?
Yeah.
Because if you do this, warehousing might even go up in cost because of the few warehousing available. The cars are available. When they realize that the goods are more now, they have options, they'll be charging higher, which will actually come to fight the positive you have put in place. Also the protocols through the barriers and the borders. If they are not well checked, if you've had barriers on the roads, and all the importers will go through stress, when the woes of an entrepreneur increases, it will decrease business. So if all this do not come with what you have implemented at the ports, the corresponding effect will be that people will not take advantage of it. For what will I benefit if I go and take advantage of it, bring in about 2,000 goods instead of 1,000 I used to do, and I don't have warehousing facilities to go with? If I don't have the transport facilities available, that will be at a cheaper cost, relatively. If I'm going to pay more for transport, and I'm also going to pay more for warehousing, and I'm also going to go through the same increased difficulty in transporting the goods to my country, then what did I benefit?
I think I think that's really the import of my question. As did we do enough?
Right.
So the price dropped enough? But also, what about, like you said, the communication? Did we inform them? Did they know about it? And of course, if we just leave it for them to discover as and when, then it will take 5 years for people to get on it.
And have you told the warehouse facility managers? Have you told them that we have done this for that reason? Speak with the people, advertise your warehouse as well, expand and let the people get the places to put their goods. Assure them that when they import 10,000, they are going to get places to put them. When they get to import 10,000, they are going to get transport cheaper to transport all these goods. I mean, if all this do not come with the package, then you realize that you are doing a positive, but you will not feel it. But my brother mentioned exemptions, and that's where my heart goes for. I see a poor man dashing things. we're not doing good. We're not doing good with collection. And here we are giving monies to people who have the muscle to pay. Look, in our workshop in Takrady, one of the things that came up was that these same people who are doing games with our weak policies and then come and take the exemptions, they exit at a point. So we even are talking about an exit tax, where maybe if you come and take a free zones opportunity and run for like 9 years and you try to exit, there should be an exit tax penalty, where if you are exiting, you came for the free bonus, but when it's time for you to pay tax, you are running away. So we put a penalty.
Yeah, so you're saying that if you exit before the 10-year period,
even after the 10 period, when it's time for you to pay taxes, and you exit, you are exiting, you will pay all the 10 years or 50% of the 10-year tax that we've given to you. So that it's not a free chop. Because we know companies that came in and they changed. They metamorphosized over the years into names. And we are saying for us to block that, there should be a dedicated effort to check that. And by putting an exit tax on we'll give you for free. As we have agreed at the free zones. But if you run for 9 years and then automatically, magically, and wonderfully, you want to exit after just 9 years, we'll have to have an exit tax over there. What you enjoyed, you can even pay 100% and pay plus a penalty, so that it will check persons from just coming to take it and running away with it. You know, so the exemptions is an issue. We should rather look at it very well. And the bill, like my brother said, it would be so wonderful if we are able to pass the bill. But like you also advised, that the RTI has spent well over years over there. We as civil society should push and discuss. I believe in the dialogue, the jaw, you know, the participatory communication approach, where we can say, government will say, and then let's have a quick one. Because we put these ministers there to do our work for us. The members of parliament are there representing our views. Look, there are examples where the citizens' response has been good. You know, drop that chamber and it dropped. So let's tell them, put the bill there, exemptions bill there. How can my father who has no money go to the beer bar and be buying beer for people? That's what we are saying. You are giving exemptions to people who have the muscle to pay. And you know, I was listening to the senior minister when I was coming here. He actually mentioned that, you know, he understands that actually the large companies are benefiting from the exemptions. And he sits in the economic meeting, so I'm sure he will do good for us. And call for the exemptions bill to be passed.
Well, he was in charge of things back in 2004. So I mean, we'll see what it is he can do that he hasn't yet done. You know, thus far. Moving the conversation forward, looking at the shortfall that we had in revenue collection, right, and then now we've also not added any new taxes. What is the likelihood that 2020 we're actually going to make enough money to finance the budget that we have?
Yeah. I think that the issue has not been, or is not about introducing countless taxes. And you shouldn't be expecting a new tax in any budget. I don't think that's the right way forward.
Okay.
What matters is efficiency in administration. Over the years, we've seen Ghana revenue meeting targets. You keep hearing this all the time. Ghana revenue meet targets, but government revenue shorts. You get in that every year. GRA have met their target. GRA have met their target. But then DRM is falling. So is it because we set on an easy target for the GRA sometimes?
Okay, help us to understand what the issue is here. How does GRA meet their target and government has a shortfall? Because GRA is collecting revenue for government. So how does that work?
Well, the GRA's target, the GRA collects, I think, for government revenue. GRA accounts for 70% of government revenue. The other aspect of the revenue, like grants, other inflows, which are not directly administered by the GRA. And by 70%, what that means is that GRA has the key role to play in our domestic revenue mobilization efforts.
Yeah.
What to me matters, we've been saying it here over and over again, we've seen or heard cases of duplication of receipt, where GRA staff will go with duplicate receipt, issue the receipt as and when. Now, the target looks ambitious, To me, it is. Because now we are at 12.9%. It was 13.1 last year, now it's 12.9% tax to GDP. The target next year is 20%. That's
pretty ambitious.
About 80%, or if I'm right, increment. Where do we get that from? They put out 3 measures. Number 1 is the capacity building of the GRA.
Okay.
And we all appreciate that they do fall short in certain areas.
Well, that's why they've also changed the entire management. So right now,
I don't think changing management builds capacity for about 6,000 workforce.
Well, they are the spearhead of the organization. So
Well, they don't go on the ground. You need guys, auditors going to say audit an oil company, and they have very limited experience of what goes into the oil company's books. So we need people who are expert accountants or expert in tax within certain specialized fields. They're also talking about the downstream petroleum aspect, and he said they're even going to the point of prosecuting company directors from the oil downstream. They are aiming at revoking company licensing if you engage in tax evasion. I like that. These are some of the strong stance we want to take. But then coming back to the GRA new restructuring we are anticipating. So the number 1 is the staff capacity building. Number 2 is improving digitization, which is very important. We've been campaigning for this, that having GRA personnel holding cash doesn't help. Because how do you trust them to come and give them one account for
You
the
need to
money?
reduce the human interface.
It's a human interface, so digitization is the way forward.
yeah, but that's where I see the new management having an opportunity to apply new rules, new systems, new ways of doing things. For me, that's it's not about them necessarily going on the ground, but putting in structures that make the system work better. I think that what you're saying is absolutely important in the sense that as soon as money touches a person's hand, the person has a discretion as to how to go about, how to handle it, right? But then, anyway, you go on and help us to fully understand how you see it if we are going to make good revenue next year.
But if you take
how we can see, yes,
20%.
Can we do it? Is it possible?
20% of GDP to me is very ambitious. I don't see us hitting that target.
But I think he stated it.
We can be closer, and the reason is if we can break the loopholes. And the crucial thing he mentioned, which I'm very happy, is that they want the GRA to now be more customer-centered, which is what is missing.
It's critical.
The emphasis has always been punitive measures.
Yes.
If you don't pay, GRA will do this, GRA will do this. We go to church and pay our tithe and Kofi Niyama and the rest. Pastor chases us.
Nobody's chasing us. But
we see that the
willfully.
pastor's money is put to good use. In the same way, the GRA has to be a customer organization. There's no way intimidating people and think the intimidation will result in tax compliance. Build a culture of voluntary tax compliance. Let people know what the tax revenue is used for. People want to see visible signs of the tax payment.
Absolutely.
And that will encourage us. So the more they want to move to the customer service centered, people want to see the evidence. Corruption has to be tackled. They have to be practical on some of the things we do. I believe definitely we'll go higher than the 13%, but I think 20%.
Yes, a little
because
too.
you're putting in the policy and you don't expect to generate the instant results in the year. Maybe 4 years' time, realistic. For now, definitely not.
Okay,
but
they said that one good term deserves another, isn't it?
Right.
So
But the good thing is that I think when you take
that.
the statement of the minister himself, actually the conclusive part, he said, to raise our domestic contribution of our ambitious transformation. Because he really accepts that
So
there
he
was
knows
an
an
ambitious
ambitious
transformation. Because you see, one of the problems some of us have had with them is when they start using percentages. Like he rightly said, total numbers would help. When he mentioned the DVLA, how many cars are in the system? Any day I go there, my car number is there. When it comes to figures, and you hear 2%, 4%, look, let's have figures.
We can't relate.
Let's relate with figures and how much has been generated. So we know the exact amount. We deal with percent. Look, let me give you an example. When the Blasters were leaving this country, there was an estimated figure. When they went after the tournament, and then there was still about no. They've expended.
Why don't we have specifics?
You have paid. You've received receipts. Give me the exact amount. And when the minister was in Parliament to actually give a rundown about how the whole cost went, the man was mentioning about 3 figures on the same paper right in front of him. He said 6.4, 4.5. That should tell you. It wasn't the practice of giving figures. Look, moving forward, what we have said is that when it comes to the issues of, he mentioned yesterday that they were going to look at radical policy and institutional reforms, and then they were also going to look at institutional reforms very, very critically. My brother has said some, about training the staffs. Look, technical staffs, right from day one, when it came to the oil industry, I have never believed that we've been able to see how much oil is produced. Look, where our expertise is where we go dive into the sea and work under the drill ship. I don't believe. You know, when it comes to the communication sector, these SUBA issues, frankly, Kujo was shouting the whole country about the people tapping in to check the communication companies and the monies they are making. Masa, I believe it, and I'll tell you today, that I don't believe when it came to the industry of communication, the telecos, and the oil industry, we are receiving how much taxes we should be receiving. Because I don't believe we have the technical expertise
to be able to know how much they're actually
engaging with some of the tax experts, they've clearly come out that they need their capacity to be built and given the expert training to be able to tap into their system and know what is going on.
Very quickly, let's touch on the issue of faith-based organizations and the expectation. How are we going to collect the money?
You mean the taxation of the faith?
Yeah.
To me, no, look, we said we want to build a Ghana beyond aid. You want to build a Ghana that we are independent financially. Because to me, financial independence is more important than the political independence we have, or they are at par. Now, we live in a country where every corner there's a church, every corner there is a malam. I went to Tamale, I think, last weekend. From the airport to my hotel, you can count how many signboards with malams. You go there for consultation, you pay. So the question is, go to the point. These guys are into business. Turn on your TV after 8 p.m. and it's always about the malams and the churches at the time. I'm not saying we should tax churches, and I don't want to be called the Antichrist because I'm a Christian. But what I'm advocating for is the taxation of religious, non-related religious activity. Go to a church and you see Sofumame opening a shop inside the shop, the church premises, other chop bar, whatever, and selling all in the name of the church, and they go tax-free. But they are not part of the church. We have one-man churches who are not paying the pastor monthly basis. After the church, he leave the collection bowl, he's off. This is a business guy. He sell oil, buy and sell. There's a difference between him and the guy from Dubai. So my emphasis is not about taxing churches, but taxing non-related church activities and the malams and the convo, who all, to me, are making income. It's time to engage them. We need to sit down and with them.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. It's been a fun conversation that we've had this morning. We need to dig a little further and deeper.
There's this one of the things that came up from our workshop. We have 2 high runners. We're thinking to encourage the president and the vice president to pay taxes. And we also looked at a second area where we thought, in the curriculum of our schools, taxes should be inserted in the curriculum, so that from basic education all through secondary to tertiary, they can understand taxes. And we thought there should be an acceleration of tax communication, so that everybody understands tax issues, and then we would make sure that compliance works.
Okay, so we've been talking to Geoffrey Okansi of the Tax Justice Coalition, and then also to Dr. Alex Ampaabeng, who is of Oxfam.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Citi Tube,
for exclusive Breakfast Daily content and other Citi TV programs.
Like, comment, and share with your friends.